Hi guys, so I just want to apologise because I had a bit of trouble with the computer and it cut the stream off halfway through, so I'm rerunning the pre-recorded content now. So what we're looking at now is we're looking at Natalie Mason's site and we're going to talk about the header and how we can make that header responsive. So Natalie originally put an image in there which is good for mock-up and looking at, but we really want that to be responsive and actually work in the site, because that main header will be the main header on most of the main pages. So we need to make sure that it works really well and that we can swap backgrounds out and those sort of things. So I've done a pre-recording, it's about an hour long. Hopefully it will run right the way through and I won't have my VPN cutting things off my end and stopping the stream coming through. If it does happen again, then I will just upload the whole video onto here as a pre-recording in there. Seems to be something going on today, I'm not sure what. So hope you enjoy it. Give us a thumbs up if you like this video, and let us know, you know, because we've also done a series, you know, Natalie Mason, we've taken it right from the beginning, like, talking about it from a client brief point of view. If you were actually a course creator for people, then these are the steps that you would go through with the client before you start doing the site build. So we covered all that. Now we're actually into the site build itself, and we're getting approvals on the build of the site, so which has been approved, the fonts, the colors, these sort of things, so we can actually move in and we can start creating the pages. So once this header's done, this is going to be mirrored through the site. I'm actually going to show you, I'm going to do a build of the pages as we go through, but the same principle will apply. We basically created a template that we can use. So I'm going to put the recorded content on. I'll see you in about an hour when it's finished. Hopefully it all goes well and you enjoy. Hi, so welcome to this workshop. So in this ZEN pop-up, what we're going to be looking at is we're looking at images. So if you saw the last one, you looked at some of the pages that were mocked up, and the page choice that we're going to kind of go with, the style for Natalie Mason's site, is actually this one here. So what I want to talk about is images, because this top image is just an image probably produced inside of Canva, exported out and then brought in. Straight away we can see problems with this because the text is blurry, so it's a smaller image and it's being actually just enlarged, so it's giving it blurry. Now the actual layout and format of it, you know, is great, and that's okay, and we're not looking at this bottom area because that's just been done with live text in there and images, and all looks really cool. Just the top image we have problems with, because one is just an image with text in, and we want to put live text in there. When I say live text, I don't mean embedded text in the image, I mean selectable text like this. So what we need to do is get rid of this, all this stuff, and we need to build that inside Zenler on top of an image. Okay, so the other thing, the problem we have with this is we also have Natalie here on the right hand side, and she is also embedded into the image. Now it would be much nicer if she was sort of as cut out as a kind of transparency, because then as the page moves, she will move over the top, or she will change position, and the image will remain the same as the background. So this brings me on to the next part of it, which is photography. And if you can get stuff professionally produced for you, so photograph series and sets produced, it's going to mean that it's a lot easier. Now Natalie has done this, and I didn't know this right at the beginning of this journey, but she actually has lots of photographs done by a professional photographer. Now there are a few things that I pointed out to her that when she gets her photos done next time, what she should do, and I'll explain that, and that's what all of this ZEN pop-up session is about today. So I want to show you how this top header is kind of built in a responsive manner so that you have an idea, and then I can sort of go through the rest of the pages in another ZEN pop-up. Okay, so this is what it's about. It's about images and doing things the right way in images, so I think you'll like it. There are, to actually, she hasn't got any images where she is cut out already, so I've got to professionally cut her out of this image and lay her on the top of it. So I'm not going to be showing you how to do that because I do that professionally. I do that using Photoshop, and I'm not going to go in and show you how to use Photoshop to do it. That's not the subject. What I'm going to say to you though is if you have an image or you have photographs taken, what you should do. Okay, So we'll be explaining that. So we're going to have a look at the photos that that Natalie actually has, and I'll show you. Now she's given me permission to show these. Obviously I've blurred the URL because she doesn't want anybody just going in there. So I bet just to show you what professional photographer would give you, like, is as far as image wise. Now remember also that when she had these photographs taken, she discussed with the photographer the color palette that she was using within the site, so that everything works together. This is really important, and this is the difference between amateur course creators and professional course creators. All right, these attentions to detail, you know. So it's really good because we're working with Natalie, who is a professional course creator and has obviously been doing this stuff for a long time and knows all these things that she needs to have in place, because she was future proofing herself with things like images that she could use in social posts, that she could use in her websites themselves. And so she's utilizing or recycling all of those images. So let's just jump straight into her photo gallery and let's just have a look at the photos that she's got done for this. And in fact, she told me that she's going to get some new ones shot using some of the best practices that I told her just off camera after the last ZEN pop-up. So let's jump into there now and just have a look at the photo gallery. Okay, so here we are on the photograph page that Natalie has that's been sent to her by the photographer. So you can see here we have lots of photographs all taken with this purpley palette in here. We've got lots of photos in here, you know, very dynamic, very professionally done photography. And you know, all these little things in here, anything that she could think that she could use, and that's working to a color palette. She's got loads of choice here. Some of these images are easier to cut yourself out of. There is no images on a plain background, and I'm going to tell you why in a minute, but just going to run through some of these photographs. So look, all very professional, all very colorful, working with the palette that she wants, and all going through, and she's got loads of photos here. Even if she's not using them, she's got them, so she got them shot at the same time. So some really nice clean photographs. All right, so as you can see, we're running through here. As we get down the bottom, you're going to recognize the photographs in the website. It's taking a bit of time to load. They'll load up in a second. Okay, there we go. So you've got all of these things going on, really quite dynamic, can be used in lots of different jobs and profile pictures, all of these things. So, you know, all going with her theme. And you can see there's just loads of photos going down here where we've got the kind of bowls, the music bowls, I think, that you run the thing around. So meditation, therapy, it's all this like heart, you know, it's all this stuff that going through here. So you can see how many we have. And as we get down the bottom, you're going to recognize some of these photographs because these are kind of the photographs that she's got in the main page that we looked at, which was here. Yeah, so she's picked one of these which works really well with this, and I think it's one of these ones here. So you can see really good photos in there. Right, so now the drawback, all of these are done on backgrounds. So what happens when you're trying to do multiple layered images, so i.e. when we're trying to have her on her own, that she can work, you know, she can work on different backgrounds. This is a problem because she's embedded into the image. So my advice, if you're getting professional, even if you're photographing yourself and you've got a really good light setup and camera, is to always photograph a series of shots on plain backgrounds. Ideally on green screens or blue screens or plain white, a contrasting color to what you're wearing and skin tones and lightnesses. The reason being is then it's very easy to cut yourself out. So I'm going to show you, I'm not going to show you how I cut her out because I'm going to be using Photoshop because she's on a different colored background, but I'm going to be showing you how to cut yourself out if you've got a photograph. So I'm going to take a quick photo of myself and I'm going to show you using a program how you can cut it out. Now there's two ways that we can do this. We can use a program that I'm going to show you, or you can use Canva if you have a pro account. Okay, if you have a paid subscription with Canva, they have an ability in there to remove background, which does a pretty good job. So if you've already got a Canva kind of paid account, you can just do it in Canva. If not, I'm showing you alternative software, which is free, that you could use to cut yourself out. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be the best in the world, because obviously I don't use those. I use Photoshop. Why? Because it's better, you know, so it's better quality, but it does mean that you can do this stuff. So there are the photos. So to get across here, when you get photos done, make sure you get a set of them done on a plain background, or ask the photographer, can you cut me out of the background? Lots of photographers will say, yep, no problem, I'll cut you out and I'll give you a transparent PNG file, you know, and that will be, the PNG file will be transparent in the background because it's a transparent format. Okay, so images for the web, just to give you a little bit of tech, you don't need to keep this in your head, but basically they're RGB, you know, red, green and blue. They're the three colors that make up, and then you've got on and off for black and white. So they're the colors that make up any images that you see on the web. Because why is it RGB? Because your monitors are RGB. Okay, now if we were talking about CMYK, that's cyan, yellow, magenta and black, then that's for print, and that is the print colors that they use, those four CMYK, that they mix together to print stuff out. Yeah, there's also things called spot colors, which are made up colors. So a spot color might, a typical example of a spot color might be a fluorescent color, like a fluorescent green, that you can't get that color by using CMYK. Also like metallic colors, again, you can't get that color using CMYK, but that's for print. We're talking about monitors, websites, media, all shown on monitors, RGB. Okay, that's all you need to remember, RGB. So when you're producing a transparent version, you're carrying an alpha, so it's RGBA, alpha, and alpha means a transparency or a mask, okay, that cuts it out. And that's all you need to know. All right, I'm not going to blind you too much, but that's all you need to know at this stage. Okay, so I'll be showing you how to cut out, and I'm going to cut her out so you know the process. So I'm going to cut myself out, show you how to cut myself out, then I'm going to do the job with her, cut her out, and then I'm going to put the thing together in there so that we're matching this, but it's a responsive design. So guys, you know, bringing this down, I just want to prove to you just a point here. If I right hand click and I go to inspect and I view this same image inside of a phone, you can see, look, the text is unreadable, you know, so that's the reason we want it. If you notice, all of the live text, this stuff down here, all stays in the right size, you know, so you can see it clearly on a mobile device. All right, the other way that you can do it is just to get the browser and to bring it down in size like this, and you can see the same thing happening there. This live text is all staying the same size, but this image with the text is being reduced down in size the smaller I go, which gets to a point where this is unreadable, and we don't want that. We want it to be as clear as this text down here or this text in here, and this is the main reason that we do this layering effect on here, so that it all becomes responsive. I can't tell you the amount of sites I've seen where text has been embedded in the image and it's just not viewable. There are ways around it, but I'm not going to discuss those. Okay, there are ways where you can embed text and you can get different versions to show up on mobile, tablet and phone, but we don't want to do that. We just want to try and get it all right the first time so it all works. Now do remember, as you bring something down in size, things will move position, so this is worth bearing in mind. So when we've done this, what will happen is the picture of Natalie there will actually move under here, but it still works. and I could even turn that off on a mobile if I wanted to. So we're going to discuss all these things when we get into that in a minute. So this is more training. I would just go ahead and do this, so it's adding to the job, me adding this training in here, but I thought it was really important that you understand how, because I have a plethora of images saying, a plethora of messages saying, like, how did you do that? Why is it resizing and going nicely, and why is it all sharp, and why is she moving over the cut? You know, so I didn't want to, I'm just preempting the questions that would come up, so that's why I'm doing it. So I'm going to show you quickly the two ways that you can cut yourself out if you're on a plain image, and then I'm going to show you the assets that I've got together for her, and we're actually going to build that in this session. So this is the first part of this, and now we're going to jump into the next part, which is cutting myself out of an image really easily using two methods. Alright, so first method we're going to look at for cutting an image out is going to be Pixlr. So it's pixlr.com. It's a free online photo editor. So we can go on here. You can pay for premium, but we should be able to do this with the free version. Okay, so this is the first method. Now you have three options. There's a few options that you can choose from. I always personally start with the advanced photo editor. So I'm going to click that. It's going to let me in. I just joined this with my Google account. I'm going to close this. I don't want this on. And then the first thing you're going to see is open image. So we need to open our image. Now I've taken a couple of snaps just quickly. Not the best photos in the world, but it's, you know, there's some nice lighting in there. There's a bit of side lighting there. And this one looks quite nice. So this is the one I'm going to use. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag that into the editor. We want to make sure these are nice high-res images as well, you know, so you want to be a good camera. So I've just dragged it in there. I'm not going to resize it. I'm going to leave it on the original there, which is what I take, because I can resize it later. I don't need to resize it now. I can resize it later. So I'm going to click apply, and that's going to open this up. So we've got this image in here. Now the first thing is I have a bit, I'm going to say agree and proceed. We have a little bit of my office in the background behind the green screen, which I really don't want. So I'm going to come into my little crop tool here, and I can actually crop it in. So if I move this in, you can see I can crop it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to crop quite close to this. I don't want to go out there. I don't need to. I can come in really close to this side, and it's just going to make life a bit easier. So once I've cropped it, I can even crop it from the top as well. We don't need all that image. Then I just hit enter on the keypad and it will just cut it out. So now I've got myself all cut out. I can start to snip myself out from the background there. Now notice it's a green screen. It's all pretty much evenly lit all the way around, although this is the darkest area and this is the lightest area over here, and a mid-tone of that would be inside there. So I want to think about that, because I want to have the spread go out from the midpoint to the darkest to the lightest. I don't want to go to the darkest and it not reach the lightest areas, or the lightest areas and not reach the darkest areas. So if we go for a mid-tone inside the image, whatever your background is, a mid-tone, then it will cut it out nicely based on that. All right, so to cut this out, it's going to be so easy. You're just going to be like, wow. So what we're going to do is we're going to select a tool that allows us to cut this out of the background. Right, okay, so we're going to go to adjustments here, and I've got to find it actually, because I'm not, let's select filter. Where is it? We've got something in here that will allow me to take this away. Aha, here we go. So go to layer. So we're selected on this layer here. Notice that. We're going to go to layer. We're going to go down, and we're going to go down to AI Auto Mask. Now what AI Auto Mask does is it will look at a kind of nice even background in the image, and it will apply a mask to that. So let's just click that, and you're going to see a little AI mask machine working, and bang, I'm cut out. So if I go and created a new layer here, I just want to create a new empty layer in here, and I'm going to fill it. I just want to prove that I can change the background and that this is now transparent. So I'm now going to fill it with this white color here, and I'm going to drag the order of this underneath here like this, and now you can see I'm cut out. So it's cut me out nicely from that image really quickly. Now I want to go back and show you manually how to do it, because it's not the most perfect cutout. There's like little bits there, And you know, this is the difference between sort of like doing it in these kind of programs and actually doing stuff professionally. So I want to go back a couple here, so I'm just going to press Control Z on the keyboard just to bring it back to what it was before, and we're going to have a look at the other option in here, because we've got Add Mask in here. So Add Mask allows you to sort of draw out a mask around something, and then it will show. Look, you can see in there. But again, I don't really like that too much either, so I'm going to do Control Z and go back to what I know works. So if I go and grab this wand select, you're going to see that what we can do is we can now click in the image, and notice I'm clicking at a spot in there, and it'll add a little what we call marching ants around the outside. Now if I click backspace, if backspace, it'll actually delete it out. If we're looking really close, I'm pressing Control D to deselect, and you can see it's cut it out. It's not bad, you know, but it hasn't cut all the areas, but I can just select some of those and then cut them out. So this is a kind of manual way of doing it. It just leaves it a little bit more feathered, and you can use other brushes, like you can use the eraser, and you can use that in there, and you can just erase little bits out. It can be a bit sluggish, this, because it is an online editor. But if I go over that, it should kind of rub it out. Let's take that opacity up. Let's make this a bit harder. I'll bring this side. I'm just checking something. Okay, so for some reason it's not cutting it out, so skip that, don't worry about it. So I think the best result we had there was with the AI mask. It's probably the quickest, but the main thing is here that you realize that you need to have this plain background to cut it out. So if I use the eraser now, will that cut it? Will that slice? No, don't know why that's not working. Oh well, never mind. We're just going to go into this and use that auto mask AI. So it's going to work on that, cut the background out. So once I've got my background cut out and I'm happy with it, I can then export it out. So let's go and export this out. So we got this. So I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to go to Export, and we're going to quick export it as a PNG file. So we want to do quick export page as PNG file, or quick export layer. Well, I'm on one layer, so I could use either of these. So I'm just going to do quick export page, and that will go. Let's put that into my folder. Let's put it into my downloads. I think let's put it into there. Okay, and click save. I can name it in here as well. Let's just name this. So leave that PNG on the end, and let's call it transparent, and then click save. All right, so that's gone into my downloads folder now. So let me just show you. There I am. Whoa, hold on. There we go. All right, so that is in there. So let's close that down, and now we can use that image inside our site. So guys, you want to make sure that it's not too big as well. This is something I should have said to you. So view 100%. So this is quite a big image. Now I could go and retouch this image as well. That's the actual full size of the image. So if you don't need it that big, don't use it that big. So I don't really need it that big, so I can actually edit things inside here. So I think in the page, file. Okay, it's under page, and then we have resize page. I'm guessing this will work. So constrain proportions, and we're going to do that to 800 in here, and it should be the same. Now we're going to click apply. So now we're going to have made this smaller, so it's going to apply that, and give it a second just to update, and there we go. So there was a little bit of a bug before, but there you go. So that's now resized. So if I want to look at that actual size on the screen, I just go 100%. That's big enough. I think that's big enough. Now inside here we can make a lot more adjustments, so I can go in and auto adjust things. That will change things slightly. You can also go into auto pop black and white if you want to change yourself to black and white. We can also change brightness and contrast. You can actually go into levels. I prefer to use levels. gives me a bit control over the darker shades and the lighter shades. I want to move this. Can you see it's changing now? So it's working. So it's changing the light. So I want to drop that down. That's not bad. A little bit too much saturation. Click apply. That's better. We can also go into some of these filters, and you have things like details, so you can actually add a little bit of Gaussian blur just to blend it out a little bit. You can also remove a bit of noise as well, so we can go in here, we can remove a little bit of the noise in here. I am recording this, I do have other things down, but you can take a little bit out. You see it's much better now. You've got like the stubbly bits down there have kind of like faded away. It's blended all this out. It's just a better quality image than we had just a second ago. So let's go in there and just export that one out. So I'm going to go to export. Let's quickly export this one out. I'm going to do it as a comparison to the other one that I just did, which is this one here. So let's just do one there. Click save. Okay, good. So we resized that, we got the other one done. So let's have a look at those. So I just bring this in here. So that's the new one that I just exported out. Let's make it a bit bigger in here. You can see. All right, and this is the original one that's much bigger. So you can see it. It looks a lot better. You know, could probably take a little bit of transparency away, but that's a lot better. So I can use that now in my site. So this is too big an image really, so I resized it to 800 and that looks a lot better. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set a quick page up. I'm going to set a header up. I'm going to whack an image in there and I'm just going to dump me on the top, and you'll see what I mean about it moving over the top. And then I can move on to getting the assets ready for Natalie, and I can actually build that header. So 2 seconds, I'll be back. Okay guys, so I'm going to just add a page inside Natalie's just to show you this process. So I'm going to call it test, and we just put test in here, and I'm going to just publish the page. It doesn't matter. I'm going to delete the page out straight after, and after I've put this in position and you see that it's cut out, then we're going to just dump the same image into Canva, and I'm going to show you how to remove the background using Canva if you've got a paid Canva account. Only if you've got a paid account. So that is Pixel R there, and I use the advanced editor if you're following along. Try it out, have fun with it. Just take a photograph on a plain background and just play around with it. Play around with the you know, the levels and the curves, desaturation, these things. Try out some of the filter effects in there and see how it works for you. All right, let's go and put a background image in here first of all. So I'm going to just go to the little gear icon. I'm going to go to, not settings, I'm going to go to style. I'm going to go background image. And we can grab one of the images I think that Natalie already has. Let's grab one of these, like this flower one, put it on here. Okay, so inside here I've got this top area that I can bring up and down. You can notice that it says like there's a number in there as you bring it. Now if you want to get rid of this completely, you can just drag it up inside here. You need to be inside the area when you drag, and you can drag it up so it disappears. I'm going to leave it there for now. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag the transparency in here. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to make this full width. You don't have to do this, I'm just making it full width. And that's gone, that edge box has gone right to the edge now. So I'm going to add 2 rows. So I'm going to go in here, I'm going to add 2 columns, 1 row. That's gone in there. And in this row, I'm going to add in the image that we've got. So I'm going to go to image, and then I'm going to go to file upload, and I'm going to select that image. So let me go to the image that we've got that's in our downloads folder in here, and we want to pick that one. I'm going to click open, and I'm going to go upload without crop, and you notice it's checkered background. It means it's transparent. So now I am on the background. Now I want this to be right on the bottom here, but I'm going to show you how to do that when I work with Natalie's one, so I'm not going to go. All I want to show you now is that we are on a background. What does this mean? This means that I can quickly go into the background layer and I can swap the image out, and I'm going to stay in now. I haven't got to use another photograph to do it, and I know I'm going to move. So if I changed it to something like that one, there you go, I'm on that background. So the other good thing about it is that I will resize with it, and I can also add live text in here. So if I go into here, I'm not going to add anything special, guys. I'm just going to drop some live text in, and we'll just go and drop some text in here. You could drop buttons in here, you can do whatever you like, absolutely up to you. You can change the color, make the size bigger, you know, do all those things that you want to do. Also, I want everything to be aligned at the top, so if I select this box, I can come down to the vertical alignment, go top, and it will jump all to the top. I can also take my image, is oversized, and I can reduce it down in size like this, so I've got something like that. Okay, so now if I save that and we preview it, you're now going to see that because I'm on a transparent background as an image, I'm going to move underneath. So if we just preview this, I'm just going to save and preview, you're going to see what we're trying to achieve with Natalie's photograph. So here we go here. So now you can see as I bring it down, look, I've dropped underneath, but the size of the text is remaining the same. Do you see that? So everything's working as it should. You know, obviously that would be on the bottom, which I'm going to show you how to do, but now you can do that. So see how quickly I cut myself out there, just taking a photograph on my webcam, and I've got a pretty decent, almost professional looking image, just with a few lights, a ring light, 2 side lights, and a webcam. So you can do this stuff at home. You know, you don't need specifically to use a professional photographer to do this stuff. So if you've got it on a green screen, or you've got a different color, plain color behind, you can remove that color, put yourself on, and this gives you the flexibility inside the site to not just do this with images. You know, I don't have to just do this with images. I can come in here and I can just select this, backspace it to get rid of the image, and I can choose a color. So I could just drop a color in there now. So I can drop all these colors in behind me and not have to change this image. And then of course, you know, go into these areas, make these things a bit more dramatic by increasing the size, maybe changing it to a white, you know. So you can do this stuff straight in the platform in a few minutes, you know. And it's as easy as that. And I'll come to show you how to put this on the bottom. It's going to, I'll go into more detail when I do it with Natalie's, but I basically take this down to 0, and I take this row and I give it a negative value inside here, so I don't have any spacing at the top. If I just put in here -10, and then I take this image and I do a -10 on the base down here, what you're going to find is it goes lovely against the bottom of the thing. Magic, yeah? So stuff really quick and easy to do inside of Zenler, and it's important that you understand how to manipulate image, even you guys that haven't done this sort of stuff before. You can create this stuff really quickly in the platform. Okay, so we've seen how we can use pixel art to actually remove an image's background. Now we're going to use Canva. So the first thing we need to do is we need to find out the size of the image that we're using. So you can easily do that inside Windows. If I bring this image over here and we hover over it, you can actually see the size come up, 32,000 by 1800. So 3,200 by 1800. You can also right hand click and go to properties. If you go to properties and details, it's going to give you the size in there. So we've got a canvas size of 3,200 by 1800, and we can resize it inside of Canva. So that's what I'm going to work to, 3,200 by 1800. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new design. This is a paid account, by the way. So we go in here, 3,200 by 1800. You can see a recent size, and it's going to create a canvas. This is the same as the image size. So what I can do now is I can take that image and I can either upload it here, or I can drag it from my desktop straight into here, like this. Okay, there it is. Now we've got a little bit of an area at the side that we want to cut off. I'm going to make sure it is the same size. So if I drag this out, you can see, bang, snaps. Now I can grab this inside area and I can drag it in, and I can do the same this side. Okay, now I've done that. Remember, this is with the pay plan. I can now go edit image, and I can just click down here to remove background, or background remover. Let's click that. Give it a little bit of time to process, and then you're going to get a good result. And there we go, we're cut out from the background. So what we can also do is we can edit the image in here, and you can actually just change a few things. If I go to edit image, you come down here, you can see I've got some adjustments that I can do over brightness, contrast and saturation. I've also got filters that I can use. So down here you've got this auto enhance. You've also got filters that you can use in here. So if I just open these up, you can see that if I do this, it's going to change the image. You see how it's changing the image in there? So some of these filters might be good for you to use. This is not a bad one. I'm going to choose none. I'm just going to go back, and we're going to choose this auto enhance. And so that's auto enhanced it, and we can actually increase that intensity. And we can click show original, so you can see the difference there, and then click apply. And it's a little bit bright, so I'm just going to reduce the brightness down on this a little bit inside here, and maybe increase this a little bit in here, the contrast, and maybe move the saturation down just slightly. Might increase that a bit more, just increase the contrast here and get something like that. So once you're happy with it, using some of these tools, what you can do now is you can export this out. So I'm just going to put this roughly in the middle, and I'm going to go to share, and I want to go down to download. I want to make sure it's in PNG format, and I want to make sure that I check transparent background. So here's where we can change our sizes. So I want it at roughly about 800 height. So if I bring this down, you're going to see this is 900 height now. This is what it will be exported out. So that's the minimum I can export, but that's fine, you know. So you could use another tool to cut it if you wanted to. So transparent background, we've got to go out to 900, it's a PNG file format, click download. So now that will download, and there it is, downloading. I'm going to just open that in folder, and you're going to see in here that we now have it. So we have that cut out. So once again, I can upload that into the system. So I'm going to upload that, and I'm going to crop it when we bring the image in. So remember we did these ones before, yeah? That was the one that we loaded in, and this is from Canva. So I think that Pixlr does a better job personally, but you can use Canva if you want to. So let's open up the site now and just drop this image in. Okay, so I could just replace this image, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate the whole block and just put this new image in here. So we just label this. I go Canva version. Okay, so let's swap myself out now. So I'm going to go into here. Let's just delete it out so you're starting from scratch. Let's now go in here, add an element. Let's go to an image. Let's go to upload an image. Let's go and find that image, which is this one here, and click open. So at this stage I can actually crop it. So if I go up here, I can crop this all in. So this is quite handy to be able to crop it inside the platform itself. So I'm going to make sure it's all nicely in like that, and click crop and upload. So now I've appeared in here. Now obviously I'd bring myself down like so, and then you've got a totally different image. So I think I prefer this. It's with that noise filter on there, it's kind of almost stylized. It's a little bit better than this one. So, but it's up to you. You can do it both. You can use Pixlr, or you can use Canva to do this. And of course we can have the same properties that we had before, where you can actually change that image across to something else if you want to, like that. Yeah, or you can put, of course, put a background behind it if you wanted to as well, like that. Yeah, so totally up to you how you want to use it, but is really powerful and a really good thing for you guys to know about, I think. Okay, so that ends that part. So what I'm going to do now is we're actually going to start to, I'm going to cut out Natalie's photo, and I'm actually going to put it into the proper page. Okay, so we're going to do that next. So now you know how it's done. I don't need to take you through that. We're just going to actually put it together like we did in here, so that we've got a responsive way of working with this top header banner. All right, let's do Natalie's site now. So you've seen how we can sort of cut images out and put them in. So it's all going to come together now, and we're going to have a look and see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just edit the page that we're going to work on. and I'm going to show you the assets whilst that's loading. So what I've done is I've taken the original photo and I've had to use a bit of photo retouching just to basically get rid of Natalie out of the original picture, which was here, and she was in here. And then I also cut Natalie out so I can put her on top. And if you look here, you can't see it because it's white text, but it says Harmony Within in that typeface that she used for the image. So I've got all my assets. So you can see here, Harmony Within. Now look at this image here. This is going to cause a problem because the top of her head is cut off. So what happens responsively is she'll drop down, but she'll have no top of the head. So I had to use an image. I had to pick an image that I thought would work. In this case, it's this one here where you've got the whole of the head. So it'll make sense when we put it together. So I'm going to go in straight away and we're just going to drop in an empty block down the bottom here. And I'm going to set this up. I'm going to leave the other block in there so you can sort of see. So I'm going to put that in there. And I can see that she's put this block in here, so I'm actually going to take this block and move it all down because I will be deleting this out eventually. So let me just move that to the top so I can work in this area. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is make it full screen. You can see Natalie's put the image in there, but it isn't full screen, so it just cuts off left and right, which is not very good really. So because she was using an actual image and I'm using the background inside this block, it will cover the whole area. So I'm going to go into the settings here and I'm going to go to background image, and then I'm going to upload that image that you saw just now. So let me just go and find the file. So I got Natalie there, so let's just pick that, open it, and I'm going to upload without crop. I want the whole image for it to resize. So you can see the image is in there. You can see it's slightly different from this image because obviously it's been retouched, and I've had to make this, background up where she was, because basically there's no image there, so I've had to make it up. So that's the first part done. We got the background in, so I'm going to go into settings now and we're going to just apply full width. So the row here goes full width. So what I want to do now is I want to put a row in here so that I can put this in position, her in position. So that's 2 columns I need at the moment, but I also want control over left and right. So I'm actually going to use 4 columns, 1 row. Just gives me that control over this. I can always delete them out. So I'm going to go for 25, 25, 25. I'm going to click on this row and I'm going to drag this right to the end. So it's just there. So it just gives me like a little bit of control. Like I said, I can always delete these columns out if it's not working for me. Right, so the next thing I want to do is put in this Harmony Within text. So I'm actually going to go and put a row in a row. This is a common thing that I do because what happens then is I've got control over this master row, but inside it I've got control over another row, and I've got control over the element that I add as well. So let's go in there and just click 1 row. So now you're going to see inside here I've got control of another row that's inside the row. So it gets a little bit confusing, but this is just the way I like to work. So I've done exactly the same thing here. I can add a row inside there. So you can see that I've got a row there. Actually, I've made 2 rows. Let me just delete this. That's when it gets a little bit confusing. Right, that's good. So let me just add that row back in there. Okay, so I've got that row in there, row in there. So let's add first of all this text. So I'm going to go and add an element now inside that inner row. I'm going to click images, going to click upload, and we're going to go and find Harmony Within. So I'm going to click that, and I'm not going to crop it, just going to leave it as it is, and there it is, it's in there. Actually, looking at that, I might actually want to crop it, so I'm going to delete it out. I think I've cut the W off, I'm not sure. Let me go to image again. Yeah, it's cut it off when it's, so let me, yeah, I think I've cut it off in there. I need to just output that. I'm going to pause the video whilst I just output it. Okay, let's upload that image then. So I'm going to go in here, I'm going to grab that new image. I just need to find it first to make sure I've got the right one. I think it's in my downloads folder. There it is. And I'm going to click open, and I'm going to upload without crop. Should be fine. And bang, it's in there. So look how sharp that is now if you compare it to this. So that's that part done. Let's now add in this part, which is the image of Natalie. So I'm going to go in here now, and we're going to go and find that image, which is actually on my desktop, and click open. I'm going to crop this at this stage. Make sure I go right to the head, top of the head there. So a little bit of air around the outside, and crop and upload. And bang, that's going to appear in there. Okay, that's good. So I'm going to take this bottom one now and I'm just bringing it right up. The reason I'm doing that is because I'm going to want to use this row to knock it down. So I'm going to go into here and I'm going to put a negative value, probably about negative 20. I'm going to do it on the image as well. So negative 20 here. Oh. Let's choose this. That's it. So that's good. All right. So now I've got that image in there. I can start adding this text, and it's basically just text. I'm not going to put it in here. I'm going to put it just below it, just because it works better with live text. So I'm going to go in here, and we're just going to choose heading 1, which I'll make into a white color. Okay, so guided meditations. So I'm going to just type all this stuff in here. I'll just pause the video whilst I do that. Okay, that looks good. So the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and we're actually going to duplicate it. So I'm going to choose this in here and I'm going to put Natalie Mason, but I'm going to go in here and we're going to choose a background color. I'm going to choose that kind of teal color that she's got going on. So that kind of color in there. And Natalie Mason. And there we go. So also I'm going to want to give it a little bit more padding around. So I'm going to go probably to about 8 I like to use. And that looks nice. Okay, so it isn't tinted like this underneath, which I could, but it's a bit of a pain. So I'm going to leave it as it is. It's also in a more of a bluey colour, but Natalie can change this to suit, however, based on her branding sheet. So I want to go a little bit more into the blue. Okay, that's good. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is knock this down even more. Let's go to 80. I'll take the row and we'll make this at the bottom as well. So I'm going to actually put this on 0 and just knock it down. A bit more. There's just fiddling. Let's try 60. Okay, let's save that. All right, so now we've got this. So there's quite a big difference in the fact that it's just really, really clear inside here. No, this isn't exactly the same, but you can play around with this if you wanted to. If you want to go in here and just make this a little bit bigger in here, you'd have to watch this as well. And the same here, this could be put to 40 as well. Okay, so again, it's been knocked up slightly from the edge. So, which is fine. Just come in here, we can just tweak it. Okay, and I'm also going to take this edge up a little bit as well. So let's save it. Right, so now the really important thing is to show you what happens in responsive mode now. So if we're going to preview this page and you're going to see this comes in quite nice. I need to make some changes. I've knocked this down too far, but that's not the point. It's kind of like more to show you what's going to happen with this image as I bring it down. So let me just scale this, and you'll. So here we go. We've actually just scaled it in. What you can see is that her head's on here, and this is all really clear. But if you look at this, it's all gone down, so which is not what we want to do. So it actually scales to fit with what we want. That's what we want to achieve. So yes, there is a few things that need to be changed, because this is probably too far down on here. So I need to change that, and I just want that to go pop back in. That's better. So it's popped back in now. So it's absolutely fine. You know, if you think maybe this is a bit big, you know, you've got that ability to move and scale things down inside here. So I can scale that down, and we can check it. And you know, it's a bit smaller. It's a bit easier to see there. And we've got it, of course, in that it goes down, looks good in responsive mode for mobiles. Whereas this is going to get smaller and smaller and smaller as you bring it in till you can't read the text, whereas this is really clear. This is what responsive behaviour is all about. So we've kind of mirrored what this is. Okay, so we haven't got exactly the same image here, but like I said to you, if the photograph's been taken on a plain background, it will be easier to cut her out and put her on. But I mean, the great thing about this is this block is now savable, and we can use it in other pages. So I'm going to go and save this block out. So I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to click the save button, and we're going to call it, oh, we need to upgrade because she's on the free plan. So we could save it if we're on the Pro and Premium. As it happens, it's not going to affect us too much, because I'm going to copy the code blocks in. But what I want to do now is I want to take this block away, because it's no longer needed for the site. So we've gone straight into that, and now it looks a lot better. So this will be the basic template for the header on most of the pages. We might reduce it down a bit because it's still quite big. In my opinion, it's a bit too big deep wise in here, but it is like there isn't much going on the page, so it kind of works. So that is a talking point with Natalie, really. But the image goes right to the edge, and it looks good in the page. So if I just refresh this page now with that image gone, this is what we get as we go through the page. Let me just save this and refresh, and this image will disappear. That's better. So there we go, we're going straight into it. We can find information. Now I'm going to be changing this slightly just to make it a little bit better. I'm going to put some buttons in there so it's clearer. I don't like the rounded on the corner, so I'm probably going to straighten these up and maybe get them to butt against each other, because there's different spacing there and there. But roughly this is how the site is going to look. It's nice and clean, and we can run through the pages with a similar style on the content that we're putting in there. And this is the key to doing this stuff really quickly. So that's how you do it. That's how we've done that main attractive header, and that's the reason why we don't embed text into an image, because of the scaling issue and the non-responsiveness of that image inside there. There are things you can do with an image. You could set an image, for instance, if you did have text in there, you could set a separate image for mobile and a separate image for tablet, and even a separate image for desktop. But we don't want to get complicated. We want to make things nice and responsive and work straight away. So that's why we've done this here. Now, as I said to you before, because this is, the background is different, you know, you can change it out. So if I want to use this on another page now, I could just go in and I could just drop another image in, or I could just change the background like that, and instantly, you know, it's just looking good. So this is how you can do it. It's a very effective way of working as well with these transparent PNGs. One little word of note: try not to use too many transparent PNGs in your site. Reason being is they are bigger in file size, so your page will take longer to load. This is a really big point. Okay, all right, so that's it. So we're now ready to go into the actual site build. I'm going to start to do that in another Zen pop-up. So that's it for today. I know it's been quite a long one, but I think these are key techniques that you guys really need to start using and understanding it. And that's why I've gone over a real lot of detail about using PixLR, about using Canva, about taking transparencies away, and the reason behind it. You know, it's important that you understand the reason behind it. Another little keynote is that because this is live text down here, right, that can be picked up by the search engines. Like if it's inside an image, it's going to be harder. One little thing to finish off on any images you put into any of the pages of your site, make sure that you do an alt tag. So to do that, you just need to click the element, click the gear icon, go across to settings, and you're going to see down here it says alt attribute. So you need to put that in there. So you need to put what it is in there, harmony within. Now, why would you do this? Because search engines again can pick up on alt tags. Also, if people are not loading up images in there, that's what will show. Okay, so you can put that in there so that it's actually understandable. So inside here, for instance, I make sure that I go in and on the alt tag I put in Natalie Mason. So I put that in there so it's clear. Okay, so this is all good for search engines. You just make sure that you're doing this. So I would make sure exactly the same thing here. I would go in and I could put in there about Natalie, you know. So you're putting this information in. So if you get any images in your site, it's really important that you use that alt tag in there on everything that you're doing inside the platform as far as images are concerned. So if you haven't done it already, get doing it. Go through your site, just make sure it's got all tags on all the images that you've put into your site. All right, that's it for now. I know it's been a really long one, but I think that was really important that you understood that going forwards, rather than me just shooting through stuff and just building it in front of you and you not understanding what's going on. One little tip just before I go is I've put these little borders on the edges, and the reason I did this was that I have control to move this in. So it gives me that extra control to easily move that in. I could even move this across here if I wanted to make that smaller. So that's why I did that as well. It gives me that extra control, and also it gives me extra control on these rows inside rows as well, because I've got this row inside a row and I've got the master row. So it helps me control where elements are in a page. It's all about making it easier for me and to make sure that everything's pixel perfect. Okay guys, right, I'm checking out for today. Hopefully you've enjoyed this one. Give me the thumbs up or put hashtag replay if you're watching it on replay. If you found it useful, you know, again, thumbs up. Tell me what you liked about the video and how you're going to use it as well. That would be cool. But until next time, I'll see you soon. So I hope you like that Zen pop-up. That's all about how you can cut images out from a background. Some things to take away from this. One is that if you are getting photographs done, just make sure that you're doing it on a green screen or you've got a plain background so you can easily snip out the images. Also make sure that the lighting is neutral. This way it's going to work with any kind of background that you've got within reason. So you can use that and you can put it in there. You've seen how we can use negative values to offset certain things so they appear at the bottom. You've seen how the responsiveness works on it. So we're now at a good stage with Natalie's site where I can actually take that header and I can copy it across them into different pages and start to work it all up. So that's exactly what we're going to do next. So there's going to be a Zen pop-up where you're going to see the build. I'm not going to do every single page, but I'm going to do a lot of the pages. We're just going to use like Lorium text or sort of dummy text, and then Natalie can go in and actually replace it with her own text as well. So we're going to be doing that in the next few days. That's going to be released up here. But I hope you love this Zen pop-up that we've done for you today. Luckily, the second run of it all went quite smoothly, so that's good. So guys, that's it for today. Hopefully you'll gain a lot for this. Give us a thumbs up if you like the video and you're learning things, more importantly. So you can see there how we use pixel art and we use Canva to snip out the images and how to sort of lay things out and do text. So hope you liked it, and I'll see you again very soon.